True. J. Lionel Robbins. Nature and significance of economic science. Lionel Robbins. Yeah. 879. Yeah. It is equally clear that our belief does not rest upon the results of controlled experiment. It is perfectly true that the particular case just mentioned has on more than one occasion be exemplified by the results of government's intervention, carried out under conditions which might be held to bear some resemblance to the conditions of controlled experiment, but it will be very superficial to suppose that the results of these experiments can be held to justify a proposition of such wide applicability, let alone the central proposition of the general theory of value. Certainly it will be a very fragile body of economic generalization which will be erected on the basis of this. Yet in fact I believe in this proposition is as complete as belief, based upon any number of controlled experiments. But on what then does this depend? It does not require much knowledge of modern economic analysis to realize that the foundation of the theory of value is the assumption that the different thing that the individual want to do have a different importance to women can be arranged therefore in a certain order. This notion can be expressed in various ways and with varying degrees of precision, from the simple one systems of omega and the earlier straight to the more refined scales of relative valuations of which the ants confer on the indifferent systems of Pareto and Mrs. Hexton Allen. But in the last analysis to reduce this to this, that we can judge whether different possible experiences are of equivalent or greater or lesser importance to us. From this elementary fact of experience, we can derive the idea of substitutability of different goods up to the map of one good in terms of another, up an equilibrium distribution of goods between different uses of equilibrium of exchange and of the formation of prices. As we pass from the description of the behavior of the single individual to the discussion of markets, we naturally make other subsidiary assumptions. There are two individuals or many. Supply is in the hands of the monopoly of a multiplicity of sellers. The individual in one part of the market know or do not know what is going on in the other part of the market. The legal framework of the market permits this or that mode of acquisition of exchange and so on. We assume to a given initial distribution of property, but always the main underlying assumption is the assumption of the schemes, valuation of the different economic subjects. But this we have seen already, it's assumption of one of the conditions who must be present if there should be economic activity at all. It is an essential constituent of our conception of conduct with an economic aspect. The propositions if I mentioned are related to the theory of valuation of given good in the elementary theory of value. And no inquiry is made into the conditions of continued production. If we assume that production takes place, a new set of problems arising, necessitating new principles of explanation, we are confronted, example, with the problem of explaining the relation between the value of the products and the value of the fact that we produce them, the so-called problem of imputation. What is the section here for the solution which have been put forward? As is well known, the main principle of explanation supplementary to the principle of subjective value were assumed in the narrow theory of value when exchange the principle sometimes described as the law of diminishing return. Now the law of diminishing return is simply one way of putting the obvious fact that different factors of production and profit substitute for one another. If you increase the amount of labor without increasing the amount of land, the product will increase, but it will not increase proportionately to secure a doubling of the product. If you're doing a double for land and labor, you are to more than double either one of the factors. This is obvious. If it were not so, then all the corn and the wall would be produced from 1 acre of land. The policies from the country consideration more intimately connected with the fundamental conceptions a class of scarce factors is stop and define as consisting of those factors which a perfect substance, that is to say differences in factors is stop and define. Essentially it's a perfect substitutability. The law of diminishing returns therefore follows from the assumption that there is more one class of scarce factors of production. The supplementary principle that within the limits return may increase follows equally directly from the assumption that the factors are relatively indivisible. On the basis of these principles and with the aid of subsidiary assumptions of the kind already mentioned, the nature of markets and the legal framework of production, etc., it is possible to build upon a theory of equilibrium of production. Let us turn to more dynamic considerations. The theory of profit, to use the word in the rather restricted sense and way it has come to be used in recent theories, essentially analysis of the effects of society with regard to the future availability of scarce goods and scarce factors. We live in a world in which not only are the things that we want scarce, but their exact occurrence is a matter of that and conjecture in planning. For the future we have to choose not between certainty, but rather between the range of the estimated probability. This clear that the nature of this range itself may vary, and accordingly there must arise not only relative valuation of the different kinds of uncertainty between themselves, but also of different ranges of uncertainty. Similarly, compared from such concept may be deduced many of the most complicated propositions of the theory of economic dynamics. And so we could go on, we could show how the use of money can be deduced from the existence of indirect exchange, and how the demand for money can be deduced from the existence of the same uncertainties that we have just examined. We could examine the propositions of the theory of capital and interest under units of the type we have been here discussing.